Welcome to the Freud's Angels weekly reading, bringing the collective guidance and understanding for this week's energy.
Remember, never give your power up to a reader or a reading. You always have the power of autonomy. Hey, angels, welcome to your weekly reading. We are reading from December 7th through December 13th. Woo!
Woo!
Like, oh my God. It's just, oh my God, it's almost half over. We are about 8 days out from post shadow retrograde ish, 7 or 8 days. I can't wait for it to be over because apparently the intensity of this retrograde just lessened. It didn't really stop. So yeah, but let's talk to the mermaids, Vanessa.
For me, it was like the opposite. Like I was just chilling in the retrograde going, wow. I mean, my electronics always go nuts. Like there was so many weird things happening during sessions where I was just like, sorry guys, like this is what happens during Mercury retrograde. Like literal, like just kicks us both out and then we get back in. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. Nobody touched anything. It's just the way that it is. But yeah, then once the post shadow started, that was when things got really rough for me. I was like, oh man, like you're not escaping the whole thing this time, ma'am.
You don't get away with things for free.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna use everything that you thought of during that time that was so peaceful right now. So all right, anyways, so what are the mermaids talking about today? What's really funny about this is that it's the dreaming card, and on the dreaming card she's holding a conch shell, and I mean, well, I'll show Grace. There's one here in my sister's office. It's like sitting on the bed. It looks like it's like tucked into bed, a conch shell. So I've been looking at it all week and kind of moving it around. And I mean, we know like the mermaid lives within me, right? So when I see it, it's like not just a thing, right? Like to me, it represents like the sea and the reason why I loved living by the ocean was because it made me feel small in a good way to stand on the shore and just be like, man, it's vastness. Like I'm tiny in this world, right? And so it would make like it would just make me kind of be more grounded of being like, man, you're making a lot of things big and like they don't need to be that big. Let's just chill and remember how much else is out there. So that goes with the card because it's the dreaming card.
Yeah.
And the dreaming card feels very much like it's saying that, of saying, when we're dreaming, are we dreaming in a vacuum or like in some sort of lack of expansive dreams? And I think that that's true for a lot of people. I mean, I know that it's been true for me before of just kind of dreaming even about my career path and all of the things that I thought were coming for me because of what I do for work. And then here comes this left turn of like, or you're going to start a co-op that has literally nothing to do with your career, kind of. I mean, you'll probably do some things here and there, but that is not a dream I had at all. As a matter of fact, I had the conversation with my supervisor in South Carolina when I quit my contract working with kids. I will never work with kids again, is what I told her, because I was heartbroken every single day in pain because of what these kids were going through. And I was like, I just don't have the heart for it. And she told me the story about how she said the same thing and then she ended up opening a facility for children and I was like, well, it will never be me, like, how I like to stand on things. And here comes the universe to be like, yeah, so funny, so funny. And it's okay, you know what I mean? Like I'm not feeling like, oh, I should have had that dream. It's just that reminder that like we can dream forward and dream for expansiveness and dream for things to be different and whatever that looks like, but it's that openness to what energy that brings to you or what form it might bring to you, accepting that instead of thinking it has to be one particular thing, because that it happens a lot, even with the people that I sit down with, where we start to talk about things, and even if something comes in from left field, they're kind of like, oh well, no, and it's like, but it came here for a reason. Let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. Like, because we can put it right back in the no box, but let's talk about the whole thing before we put it in the no box. And sometimes yes, it goes back in the no box, but what we learned on that mission brought them to another place. So yeah, it's definitely given the horizon thinking that conch shell that I've been looking at all week, and now it's showing up in this card, that reminding me of just the vastness of everything out there. It's impossible that any of us knows exactly everything that's possible when we're dreaming. So yeah.
And sometimes the where you're at, there's no fertilizer for the dream. It's also, the dream may not show up until you're in a different place, or something has happened. You've experienced something, you've learned something, you've grown, you've moved, or something. The thing that feeds the dream or shows the possibilities may not be present yet because of some reason or another. And so sometimes, I mean, in 2021, I mean, we started talking about the body, on the podcast, and like, it's 2025, and that's when this desire that I had decided it was going to start to bloom. And so like, that's 4 years of like, oh.
And it's coming out very differently because we just assumed we were going to pick it back up here in the Freud's angel space.
Yeah. Yes. And and so it's definitely I don't know. It's just definitely, when we think about dreaming, it's not about we have the dream and then we get the dream, or that we immediately work towards it. Sometimes the dream comes and it's not a no, but we may not see the possibilities. And then it's just waiting for those possibilities to kind of show up in front of us and go, oh, well, maybe this is true. And generally, what I've learned, the dream comes from something else that doesn't look like the dream, but then makes the dream manifest.
Well, I mean, that's how dreams work, right? Like, you don't just fall asleep and then cool shit happens over and over and over again, right? Like, there's usually some buildup, or there's some like side quests, or just other weird shit that's in there that like, that's not connected to the main plot. You know what I mean? Or doesn't seem connected to the main plot until you sit down and talk about it. I mean, that is not how dreams work. They are expansive, all of them. There's more than just the main point. So yeah, definitely feels true. And yeah, I like the idea of that too. Just because I mean, I do think that most things can be seen as part of a dream anyway. You know what I mean? Like, just the way that I felt when I got here in Kentucky feels like what it feels like to achieve a dream, where I just felt like, oh gosh, the comfort I feel here and the hominess that I feel here is very dreamy. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect it, but I'm going to appreciate it and I'm going to live in it as if it is dreamy, and that makes it part of it. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What do we have to surrender with our dreaming?
Surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. Feel like I'm like, ugh. Like I was telling Vanessa just before we got on that I swear to God, these cards listen to us, and like our phones do.
Yeah, for sure they do.
We all feel a little roasted sometimes when we're doing these readings, but in a good way, but in a way that is like, oh, okay. Boundaries. I had this conversation with my therapist when it came to relationships and boundaries, is that I had wanted to make an announcement of, something I felt. I wanted to send an email, and I was like ready to do it. And she's like, okay, let's think about this. What is the motivation behind the email? Are you proving a point? Are you hurting before you get hurt? Are you trying to make a reaction happen? Are you what is it that you're trying to do? Or is this a healthy boundary that you need to set because you need this to be known? And it was like, oh, because I think one tries to masquerade as the other, like
Mhm.
the unhealthy emails, like they try to masquerade as the I'm setting healthy boundaries,
Mhm.
but the energy behind it is not healthy boundaries. It is if I can create surety and the known in this situation, even if it's by destruction, then I am safe. And so it's, and sometimes it's, old wounds, old patterns of I will abandon you before you abandon me, like that kind of
Oh God, I remember
energy.
those days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, it's we have to think setting boundaries is important. Believe me, this year I have learned and loved all the boundaries I've decided to set. Some are easier than others, yes. But it's hard because there's a part of me, and that part of me learned how to be codependent and people pleasing to ensure a situation's feeling, emotion, progress, ending, whatever. And then there's a part of me that is like, these boundaries are freaking amazing. I have time for myself now because I'm not like always worried about doing stuff for others.
Yeah,
Um,
which
not
contributes to the dream that we didn't know contributed to the dream. We're like,
yeah,
oh no, oh, got it.
exactly. So, um, yeah. So where are your boundaries? Where,
God.
what boundaries do you that you don't have? Okay, let me try to word this without sounding like my tongue is tied. What boundaries are needed to fulfill your dreams, right? Where do you not have boundaries, where and that lack of boundaries is preventing you from building your dream, from going towards your dream in the ways that you see are in front of you? Where would boundaries help you in relationships, of whether it's romantic, whether it's friendships, whether it's business, whatever avenue that is? Where would boundaries help keep your peace, right? Where would you find extra resource for yourself by setting a boundary? And we're not talking like you set hard ass boundaries with spikes on them. You set boundaries firmly, yes, but you don't have to do it to hurt somebody. You set the boundaries to protect your peace, to protect whatever it is that you need to let somebody know this is my boundary, and this is the bare minimum of what I need to happen in this relationship. And um and you get those things because everybody in the relationship gets to have boundaries. And we've not been taught how to set them. We've been taught that we must always please the person, or that boundaries, like, oh, you're not being a good friend, and it's like, wait a minute. Like, that's not true. Like, there's a lot of conversation and different meanings made behind setting boundaries or not having boundaries. And so this is a checkpoint of where are your boundaries in your relationships. Are there any boundaries, or are there any relationships that need boundaries? Because either you've been resentful, you've been upset because of whatever reason. If there's upset because of your interaction or how that person is acting, then chances are there's a boundary that needs to be made lovingly but strongly. And this is also, note to self. Um, but
I'm over here like drowning in my own self boundaries situation. Like, this is not about other people. It's about me crossing boundary
yeah,
for the sake of things that are not attached to the dream. But then, in your little hindsight moment, you're like, maybe if you had not done that, this dream would have been different. But you didn't have the boundary with yourself to say no to what that thing was that you were doing. Right? Like I think a lot of times we hear the boundary talk and we think other people crossing our boundaries, and sometimes we're having to check ourselves of, are you crossing other people's boundaries? Are you crossing your own boundaries? Are you needing to have boundaries with yourself of saying, hey self, here's something you struggle with, and here's a boundary you're going to put on yourself so that you don't create messes you don't want to clean up. And that's the moment I'm sitting in right now as you said it. I was like, I don't like it, because it's not always that, like that's we do when we talk about boundaries, we're often talking about other people creating trauma in our lives. And it's so important to have our own conversations with ourselves of saying, like, not just, like the boundaries of self-sacrifice. Like, that is not on that other person to not take from me. It's on me to make sure that I don't overgive, or that I don't give with certain intentions. That's my boundary that I have to have with myself. It has nothing to do with the other person whatsoever. They're not at fault if I don't have that within myself.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot of conversation happening in my head of just like, yeah, if you want that dream, maybe there are things that you should not be doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Ew, whatever.
Whatever. Anyway, our numerology card for the week is number 87.
Sidney Crosby. Just kidding. Oh God, everything is a hockey number. It's annoying.
Yes. I was waiting. What jersey has this number? Because I know Vanessa would know. And it is the card of synchronicity.
Okay.
And and I gotta love some synchronicities. And how does it connect to our dreams? Well, sometimes all of those synchronicities line up when your dream is starting to come true. Like, you start to see things. Like, I see how, like, oh, I saw we did the body thing. I saw, like, even before that, the newsletters of me ranting about how we talk and treat our bodies and what we think of them. And it was just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, we'll see all the synchronicities that I needed lined up the way that they needed to be. And there it is. Right. And so, synchronicities are those fun little checkpoints along the way that say, yep, keep going. Keep going, keep going. You're almost there. Keep going. And so,
and they're not always ginormous. They're just nudges sometimes of just, just do it. It's fine. Just do it. It'll be fine.
1,000%. And like this synchronicity, let me share the money card with you. So I was just talking to Vanessa about how I'm wary of spending money on an LMS for my course, because like, I don't want to get people into one platform and then move to another and then create confusion and chaos, even though everybody I know has done that in the past year. But
all the time.
Yeah. And so, because I want to just I want to have it and then have it. But I'm wary of spending that much money. Listen to the money card. It is safe for me to spend money. I know there is always more where that came from. And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, we talked about this like an hour ago, and like all of a sudden this card shows up. So I take it for what it is.
I take that one. Well, I obviously don't take it too far because I'm not destitute, but like, I feel like I take that too far. Like, I 1,000% don't think about things nearly as much as I used to. And then I'm just like, it'll be fine. It'll happen. And it does. And I think that there's sometimes I need to like put myself in positions where I'm like, okay, but you do want certain things. So this is how you're going to act. But I have for probably 4 years now just been in this, like, it'll be fine. And it has been fine. So then the more evidence that I gather of that, because of the boundaries that I have, like to bring it back to boundaries of being like, I'm not boundaryless when I spend my money. Right. And that's the difference. It's not just yeeting money out the window and being like, oh, more is coming. There's still intentionality that has to go with it. There's still a vibration that I have to be spending it with that allows it to be exchange worthy. Right. Like, because, if I'm doing it with different intention, or if I'm doing it as a self-soothing thing, then there's another energy that's in there that mixes in that's not going to do the same reciprocation as like that whole like in out. It's got to go in. It's got to go out. It's got to go in. It's got to go out. So, yeah.
I think it's the respect of the intent and the energy behind it that matters.
100%.
And it's not to say that it's wrong if we were like, dude, I needed some retail therapy, but how often? Are you taking care of the reason you need retail therapy, or is this a chronic retail therapy thing? Like that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
let's be clear, and it's not wrong. I mean, I know I have problems because I would rather eat out than cook sometimes, and that's a part for me. It's like, okay, like these are our goals, but this is preventing us from our goal, and you absolutely can do it because you have free will, but where are we putting the intent and the energy? Are we putting it in that, are we that tired that we can't make some eggs and toast? Or are we just, are we just trying to soothe something or find some relief in doing this? So yeah. All right, folks, let's talk about Mars. This tomorrow, which is the 8th of December, Mars in Sagittarius is square to Saturn in Pisces. Now this peaks at 6:15 p.m. Pretty sure that's Eastern, but it could be Pacific. Not 100% sure. Check your favorite astro app. But why do we have to talk about this? Well, Mars is the planet of war. And Saturn, Daddy Saturn, is our karma. It is our, like,
God.
our, what's the word I'm looking for? And I call it Daddy Saturn because if we've done something like we haven't been paying attention or we've
It's
not
for
done
consequence.
something, yeah, consequence. That's it. That's the word. So what could happen tomorrow? There could be frustration. There could be aggressiveness, like you're like really angry at work
God.
or in your professional life. Um, you may feel that you may have some conflict with people in authority, your boss, something of that nature. It's just it's a really volatile type of day. And so and plus Mondays are ruled by the moon, which are emotional to begin with. And so some of this may stir up this emotion that causes you to react from a very not centered space. But just be very intentional and mindful tomorrow. Do a lot of grounding. Get out your grounding meditations, your grounding oils. Just even if you just sit and feel your butt in the chair and your feet, picture roots growing from your feet deep into the earth, ground your energy because it's going to be necessary. Because not only could there be this conflict that you are feeling or this really anxiousness, or I don't even say anxiousness, but like this aggressive kind of like, well, fuck you, that kind of energy. Think about that type of energy can stir up like accidents of maybe you cut your finger when you're chopping vegetables, or like you go outside and maybe you fall, or we really want to be mindful of our energy because when Mars and Saturn come together, the chaos can kind of ensue. And so when you are walking or you're leaving your home, make sure you're not in your head and thinking and wound up. Look at where you're walking. Be very careful. When you're driving, look both ways a couple extra times before you pull out. Be very mindful of what you're doing. It's about being present in the moment. And if you feel your thoughts begin to go off into rant land, bring them back and say, yep, I honor the need for our rant, but we need to be focused right now because if we don't, we don't want to take our attention away from what we're doing. So think about kind of being in the middle of the chaos and kind of taking a moment to be present with what you're doing. And then when you have free time or have a moment and need to go into rant land, go into rant land and get it out and express it. And I'm not saying don't feel that way because we can't not feel that way in situations sometimes, but it's to honor it in the right space so that it doesn't cause chaos with what we're doing, especially if we're outside traveling or whatever, but, or even inside, like cooking or something of that nature. It's not to say that that will happen. This is not prediction. This is just to say, careful in taking your chaos until you are able to safely be in the chaos and the rant of what
Good
you know.
times. I really need that in my life right now.
I'm sorry.
Especially since I looked at the pattern app this morning and I didn't recognize, or I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, I guess, that Venus had moved into Scorpio a week ago. And I'm like,
Sometimes.
oh gosh. And I was like, why am I like this? Oh, okay.
Fun
Again,
times.
like we talk about this, it's like I was feeling that well before I understood this. And now that I understand it, I'm like, oh, I mean, it still doesn't make it any easier actually, but like it makes it just like, oh, well, this is why it came out of nowhere, because it didn't come out of nowhere. It's your little stardust smashing into other stardust, and that's how it goes.
Exactly.
So you're feeling it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna like not talk to anybody tomorrow. I mean, I got some clients, but
That's not a bad idea, man. It really isn't. It's sometimes you just need to lay low to let it blow over. And and because Mondays are ruled by the moon, our emotions may be the trigger for it. Like if somebody triggers an emotion, like so, tomorrow's Monday. I am just going to work and be on my own. The only thing I'm going to do is go to the post office, and that is it. And I am going to be very cautious going to the post office and be very kind and be very just remind myself to be in the state of love, the whole way. Don't cause vehicular homicide. Anyways, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful week. I really do. Yeah. And we'll talk to you next week.
yeah, love you. Thanks for listening.
We hope we gave you something to support your journey.
Check out our Facebook or Instagram page to connect with us.
Have a great week.